Geekazine is a proud member of the Tech Podcast Network over at www.techpodcast.com. If it's tech, then it's here. Welcome back. Welcome back to the Geekazine Weekly Podcast. This is Jeffrey Powers over at www.geekazine.com. We got a lot of great stuff for you, including recycled castles and Verizon iPhones and iPads and AT&T and all that other spiel schlemazel. Hassenpfefft Incorporated. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, they got that scrubby. 2 weeks of waiting. Let's get onto the internet and let's get you going right now.
Welcome to Geekazine, a weekly audio magazine for the geek in all of us. Now, here is your host, Jeffrey Powers.
It's still me. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to the Geekazine Weekly Podcast. Coming to you from down in the Geek Studios in beautiful Madison, Wisconsin, over at the Geek Bar. And yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we've made some changes. We've made some adjustments. If you're listening to the audio version, you can't see it. But if you're looking at the video version, look at all the cool, pretty little colors that we got. Ladies and gentlemen, yes. And I'm trying to get all my ideas together. But of course, we moved the microphone over, and so if things are going to be a little kabobbled right now, but we're working on it. Yeah, I got the light sign. You see that right behind me, the light sign. Now I didn't expect to get that. That was just out of the blue. It came together. So I put this whole back shelf up. You can see that right there. We're working on it. So bits and pieces. It needs to be raised a little bit. That sign needs to be here as opposed to here. So anyway, how you doing? If this is the first time that you've come to the show, thank you very much for coming back to episode number 172 of the Geekazine Weekly Podcast. Yes, we've done 172 of these little podcasty things, and we've given it out to you every single Wednesday. And this Wednesday, this specific tomorrow Wednesday, is a very important Wednesday for me, and I'm not going to tell you why. You got to figure it out for yourself. So, anyway, very special Wednesday for me, so I'm really happy. I'm thinking of taking the day off. Oh, yeah, no, it's not going to happen. So, anyway, I hope you're doing great. Like I said, if this is the first time that you've come to the show, thank you very much for coming to the show. This microphone is going to drive me a little bit bad. You got to figure out what to do. Or maybe I'll scrunch like this. Anyway, if you're a long-time listener, long-time fan of the show, then please let me know that you're there. Email me over at geekazine@gmail.com or call the hotline at 608-205-4378. Of course, if you go over to geekazine.com, you can subscribe to the show notes of the show. That's where you go, is the notes of the show. And where's my mouse pointer? There it is. And go from there. That's over at Geekazine, geekazine.com. All right, we've got a lot of new stuff here, a lot of new ideas now, a lot of new thoughts. Moving things around is not the easiest thing. But ladies and gentlemen, last time I talked to you, it was 2010. I actually took 2 weeks off. Yes, 2 whole blessed weeks off from any of the podcasting. I didn't do the weekly podcast. I didn't do the 5 tech things you should know about. But in all reality, I did a whole mess load more than that. So, yeah, we did the... We had it was CES, of course. CES happened. We did about 255 product videos, which I'm now very, very heavily putting up on tpn.tv. Of course, some of them are crossing over to geekazine.com, but the majority of views will happen over at tpn.tv. So please go over to tpn.tv to check that all out. Now, if you look over at geekazine.com, you'll notice that I've actually separated some of any of the CES action, because those CES videos pretty much overrun the site, and I didn't want that to happen this year. So you're going to see one video basically on the homepage. You're going to see the Day in Tech, the current Day in Tech history podcast, the latest video, which most likely is this right now, and then the latest CES video. And then underneath that, we'll have the regular posts Frank's been posting, I've been posting. We might even have a new blogger coming down the pike here. So hopefully that happens very soon. We get this all set up for that person and get them going on their way. So that's over at www.geekazine.com. That's how exciting this life is starting to get. Of course, I needed to do that because I needed to change some things up. In the last 3 months, I'm going to tell you something right now. In the last 3 months, the fact I don't have a real major sponsor, I have sponsors, but I always had a major sponsor, and that major sponsor hasn't been around, and it's just kind of, it's hurting the pocketbook, let's say that. So I came back, and now I'm pretty much cashing in all my chips. All my clients have to, I'm going, you got to pay up, 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 because I'm almost broke. So that's how it goes. And as an independent person, and hopefully with the new ventures that I'm going to be coming up in the next few weeks here, you'll see some changes, and the changes will do you good. And some new shows coming through, and some new ideas, and some this and that and the other thing. We won't bore you on that. I will bore you on the fact that after CES, I got on a red eye. After CES, I got on a red eye, and I went over to Dallas, where we got to see Dallas Stadium, and it's all grandeur, which was pretty cool. I really enjoyed it, and I really had a great time. So I thank everybody for that. That brought me over to Dallas. We also went over to Houston for HP Pro Lion Day, and it was a whirlwind day, and there was even more video that I had to put up. I think I had about 11 videos from there. We're going to be doing some more video with that, and so stick around. We've also got some video on a different angle that I'm going to be putting up shortly here. So everything over at Geekazine.com. So go over to Geekazine.com. It's been a whirlwind. I took 2 weeks off from the podcast, which, like I said, hasn't been done before in the last 3 years. So now I got to catch you up on everything that is here at Geekazine. And ladies and gentlemen, now this is the funniest thing. It snowed. We had snow, and then 2 days before I left for CES, snow was gone. I get to CES. I get to Las Vegas on January 2nd, and it snowed in Las Vegas. It snowed in Las Vegas. So, but the funny thing about this is, it was raining on the Strip, but around Vegas, the mountains you saw snow. The next 2 days, was probably the greenest you'll ever see Vegas in all its glory. And I got to see that. And I thought that was pretty cool. So then I left Vegas on the 9th, and I got to Dallas on the 10th. I took the red eye so I can make it to Dallas Stadium. And it was snowing. It snowed in Dallas, too, yes. So I got to see Dallas snow. I got to see Vegas snow. Of course, I always get to see Wisconsin snow. But the funny thing is, when I got back here, it snowed, and it's snowing again. We got about 4 inches yesterday. I was shoveling the driveways this morning, and we're supposed to get snow again on Thursday. So, snow, 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 snow. That's the story of my snow life. Anyway, only one state apparently does not have snow right now. What is that state? Florida. Florida. Yes, Florida is the only state in the United States that doesn't have snow, and this thing is falling. Let's do that. There we go. Like I said, a little bit of logistical problems, but we'll get it all worked out. So anyway, thanks a lot for coming to the podcast. I think I've bored you enough with my little stories, but we had a great day over at CES. We had a great weekend over at CES. I had a great week over at HP Pro Lion Day. Actually, it was 2 days. And then the 255 videos that you're going to see over at tpn.tv, and the new stuff coming over to Geekazine.com. That's all over at Geekazine, and it's going to be great. It's going to be awesome. So watch out for that, and we'll go from there. Before we get into the show, let's thank our sponsors. Of course, our main sponsor, Mozy.com. And I haven't put up new billboards yet because I've been so busy going back and forth. But anyway, 10% off that already low price over at Mozy.com if you use the code GEEK. Back up now, back up often, back up off-site. All your computers. During CES, I let my main computer just sit there and back up via Mozy, just in case it needed it. Of course, I had that computer on, too, because of the back channel. I'll talk about that in a second. But I had everything backed up, and I still have it backed up. If I have fire, if I have theft, if I have a hard drive failure, I can restore it using Mozy's backup system. They just announced that they've made things a little bit easier for you too over at Mozy.com. So check everything out over at Mozy.com. Backup now, backup often, backup offsite. Use that code GEEK. That gets you an additional 10% off. And I'd like to thank everybody that's been using the code because it's been helping me keep these lights on. Of course, if it wasn't for our CES sponsors, we would have not been able to go to CES. So go over to Luxor.com, go to Geekazine, click on the link for Luxor, and check out room rates as low as $40 a night. $40 a night. And it's a great place. We had a lot of fun. My hotel room had a bed. It had a nice flat screen TV, and it had a Bose system in it, which was pretty cool. It also had a refrigerator and a coffee maker too. Of course, everybody's got coffee makers, but refrigerators not as much. So you get some pretty cool amenities over at Luxor.com. So go over to Luxor. Rooms at $40 a night. Of course, Audible. I've been a good friend of Audible.com, and I've listened to a lot of audiobooks. And, of course, they have the audiobooks on your iPod, iPad, iPhone, whatever. So go over to audiblepodcast.com/CES, and that gets you that 14-day free trial. And then, of course, the third one is GoDaddy. And, of course, we have some codes over on GoDaddy, including POD150 gets you 10% off. But remember, CES25 if you're a new subscriber. If you're new to GoDaddy, you're going to get 25% off by using that code CES25. CES25 over at GoDaddy.com. Of course, go over to Geekazine.com, check out all the promo codes. Wanted to show you this. This is what we got at, I think it was Digital Experience. It was the Dexum flip thingy. So it's basically a charger, but it's also an iPhone stand. And I can do it, so I can do it like this, and I can do it like this. Only thing is it's like this off pink. I'm not exactly sure the name of the color. But it makes for a good stand. And maybe I'll even paint it. It's the P-Flip over at Dexum. So thanks to Dexum. We did get some cool swag. The 3-Flip. I had a 3-Flip. The guys gave me one. I set it on the table, and lo and behold, it disappeared. So sorry about that, guys, over at 3-Flip. And lots of other stuff. Too. The back channel, you probably could have seen the back channel run. It's not running anymore, of course. But all during CES, I actually had the back channel running at the house here. So what I would do is I would actually log into my home computer from Las Vegas, and I'd transfer the files over, and then I just put them up into the playlist, and then that ran from there. So that was pretty cool, and it made my home work a little bit more than it normally did during CES. But I'm more than willing to have that happen again. We learned a lot with CES, so. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, let's get into your news. All right, nothing seems to be pulling up here, so let's go. It's not here. Why aren't my screens coming up? Well, that's interesting. None of my external screens are coming up. That's not it. Well, this isn't right. What's that? Oh, yeah. Well, none of my... Why? Hold on. My phone just started ringing. Alright, well, it looks like for some reason the screens are not going. So we'll just have to, like I said, everything's brand new. I don't know why. There's the mouse. Why isn't it seeing the screen? That's funky. All you see is a blank screen. But there's the mouse on my laptop. Anyway, you're just going to have to deal with me and my mug here, right here. And maybe I'll do my close-up mug. Close up! Ah! Oh, that's off. Never mind. Let's go back. Let's start. Two charged over the AT&T iPad security breach. Let me close this. Let me reopen and see if that makes a difference. So basically, two hackers basically found a security flaw in the AT&T network, and they obtained thousands of emails that they ended up ended up putting online, and so they've been caught, and they're in trouble, and so and I'm doing 5 things at once. I apologize. Let's try this. This work. There we go. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. Move this over just a touch. All right, so they've been they basically were arrested and charged with fraud and conspiracy on accessing a computer. Daniel Spittler and Andrew Auenheimer are going to appear in court in New Jersey and Arkansas. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you're a hacker and you want to get some notoriety, then hooking up to the interweb and saying, "Hey, I got all your passwords and emails," probably not a good idea. Probably not a good idea. And if you want to be a savior, or if you want to be in jail, it's really just a question of that. So if you do find a breach in security, don't do it that way. Call somebody. Maybe call up a newspaper just to be on the safe side. Call up the site and say, "Hey, I found a problem. Let's work it out." So anyway, if you want to read up more on that, that's over at guardian.co.uk. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's one step official to the official, and that is that Comcast and NBC Universal have been basically one step closer to actually becoming one and the same. It's a 4-1 vote. They're saying that that it's not fully out yet, but ladies and gentlemen, we could be one step closer to having Comcast and NBC, or CNBC as I like to call it, onto your computers, so onto your TVs, and that might change the whole landscape. NBC, one thing about Comcast is they understand the internet space. They know where it's going. So, will that change NBC for the better or for the worse? Will Comcast start regulating in ways that we don't want them to regulate, or will they actually put them into the 21st century, which none of the networks are right now? None of them. Anyway, if you want to read more about that, go to Engadget.com. Big news of the day, Mr. Steve Jobs has decided to, hey, I'm going to take a small sabbatical. I'm tired of this working thing. Just sucks. I don't want to do it. You know, and it was really funny as I was talking to somebody the other day, and they were complaining about the fact that there was snow yesterday, which was Martin Luther King Day, which they had the day off on. And they wanted to have the day after off. And they were going, well, maybe we'll get the day after off, too. It's like, I don't even get the day off on Martin Luther King Day. I don't even get the day off on Wednesday. So, I don't know. Some of these people, if you have a job and you're complaining about days off, come on. Anyway, Steve Cook, I believe is his name, is taking over the CEO position while Steve Jobs is away. Maybe he's getting another liver. Maybe he's getting a spleen. Maybe he's going to get a robot. Maybe he's going to turn into a Doctor Who Cyberman or a Dalek. We will exterminate. I don't have a plunger. Anyway, could you see Steve Jobs coming back in like this iPad sitting on his chest or something like that? And we're all wondering, what the heck's going on with Steve Jobs? Oh my God, that's infused in him. It's an iSteve. We'll see what happens, but of course, yeah. Well, hopefully, Steve, get better soon. You're in our hearts, you know. And I don't want you to. I don't want anything bad to go. Just get better and get back so we can announce the iPhone 5 properly on Verizon networks. Oh, did I dig on that? I did. I dug on that. I can't believe that. Anyway, that's over at usatoday.com. Check that all out. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I dumped my Sprint stock today. Yes, I did. And I'm going to tell you why. I don't think Sprint gets it right now. And this article over on Beta News is definitely a good reason why. They're now charging, they had to rethink their unlimited plans. They're now charging $10 extra per month for unlimited data plans. And, of course, Sprint, let's look at what Sprint is. Sprint is WiMAX. WiMAX, you have WiMAX and LTE. Those are the two 4G protocols. and LTE seems to be winning over WiMAX right now. You know, like Beta and VHS and Mac and PC and all that other good stuff. Well, you have LTE and you have WiMAX, and Sprint is over on the WiMAX area. They have the 4G. They've had the 4G longer than others, but everything plan, although the everything plan is going to cost you $79 or $80 a month, T-Mobile costs $100 a month, and Verizon, of course, $120 a month, and AT&T $130 a month. So it's still a better price, but I don't know. I don't see Sprint really doing things. And yeah, I decided to. Well, I actually dumped Sprint because I had to dump A stock because I needed the money for certain things, like paying my food bill or something. So anyway, what do you think? Do you think Sprint is pretty much on its last legs? I didn't see any innovation in this last round at CES. They didn't come out with anything that was just mind-boggling. Whereas Verizon announced the LTE 4G. Yeah, granted, it's not really 4G. It's kind of like 3.75G, but it's still very exciting. So, I don't know. Check this out over on betanews.com. Speaking of Verizon, ladies and gentlemen, we kind of we're on the sabbatical. Remember that sabbatical? We're like Steve Jobs. We're on a sabbatical, and yes, while we were on our 2-week hiatus, Verizon announced 2 days after CES that they were coming out with the iPhone 4, available February 10th. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to get into the whole iPhone because you probably heard it all. iPhone 4, blah blah blah. It's not true. It's not a true iPhone. It's a Band-Aid fix. And if you go over to Geekazine.com, you'll see my article on that. How basically it's the article's called "How Verizon Half-Assed the iPhone." Sorry, Verizon, you did it wrong. When they have things like the brand new Thunderbolt that just came out from HTC, and some of the other new smartphones with 4G LTE, going to the iPhone doesn't make any sense. And they're enticing people now. They're saying, "Oh, if you just bought a phone for us, with 2-year contract, we'll let you switch over to iPhone if you want to, with small fees." Basically, if you don't understand the whole thing, the bottom line is this: they took the iPhone, take it off, flip here. They took the iPhone, they opened it up, they took out the GSM chip, and they put in a CDMA chip. Now, that's all well and good. It's like me switching out processors on a motherboard that is built for a specific processor. It'll process, but then the graphics card doesn't understand the AMD signature from the Intel signature because it was built for one processor and not the other. Same thing with the iPhone. They just basically switched out the GSM chip, put in the CDMA chip. There is no 4G in this phone, and the iPhone 4, of course, is a 3GS, but there is no 4G chip in an iPhone 4. So, and why make it when there's going to be an iPhone 5 coming out very, very soon? So anyway, Consumer Reports is telling people, do not get sucked in. Do not get sucked in by Verizon's iPhone 4. Wait for the iPhone 5. If it is also supposed to be on Verizon's network, then you will have a better phone, and you will have a phone that you can actually do FaceTime on with somebody. Use the data while using the phone. And that's how that all works. So we got this article over on the APPERA, A-P-P-E-R-A, App E-R-A, I guess is what it is. So once again, brand new site. Any questions, any problems, let me know. We will change the site. All right, TiVo's releasing the official iPad app for the do you have a TiVo? I don't have a TiVo. I don't know anybody who has a TiVo, but apparently there's now an iPhone or an iPad app for the TiVo, so you can DVR from your iPad. Of course, you could do it from your smartphone, from your BlackBerry before, but now you can do it from there, and you'll have to be running iOS 3.2 or later on your iPad, and you'll be able to schedule one-time recordings, the season recordings, and does it say anything? You'll also be able to browse your recorded shows on your iPad and start playing them on your TiVo. However, they don't stream those shows to your iPad, which is kind of sad. That would be the one functionality I would really want to see in the TiVo iPad app. And it hasn't happened. Maybe down the road. Maybe it will happen. We'll see what happens. So, if you want to read more on that, go over to PCWorld.com. Microsoft. Anyway, Microsoft is shipping Dynamic CRM. That's Customer Relations Management, I believe, is the Customer Relationship Management software. It's for small businesses, and it's basically to put all your small businesses up on the cloud. Doo-loo-loo. And it's going to be available very, very soon. It's now available in 40 countries and 41 languages. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to tell you something on the side. I just got done with a meeting with Microsoft representatives. We're going to be working with a company called Altiva, and we're going to set up a small business solution. Now, if you do have a small business, then you might want to listen up on this, because this is what's called unified communications. This is Microsoft's answer to being able to receive faxes through your email, being able to receive voicemails through your email, and other cool stuff, live meetings through your email, just basically turning your email box into one big working item right there. So unified communications, we're going to be working with Altiva, and the best part about that is we're going to be getting a VoIP phone through Altiva, because they have a VoIP phone system. I'll probably be registering a number for it, but I'm not going to register any of my numbers for it. It'll be a full test area in which you'll be able. I'll be giving you all that information, and you will. We'll have some web seminars and stuff like that, and test out the full integration of doing business up on a system like that. So that's coming very soon. But right now, this is a cool article with Microsoft. Check that out about customer relationship management. And that's over on arstechnica.com. Interesting news over in the over-the-top front. Eric Huggers, who was the BBC's Director of Future Media and Technology. Let's put his picture up on the thing here. There you go. He's leaving BBC, and he is going to become General Manager of Intel's Digital Home Group. He will basically be seeing what they're doing in the digital media business. Now, Huggers joined the BBC in 2007 as the Director of Future Media, and he was highlighted to do Project Kangaroo, which I'm not exactly sure what that. I'm assuming is something to do with the internet and putting the content out on the internet. Now, what does this mean? This means that him moving to Intel means that Intel is seriously looking to see what they need to do to get video over in Intel, unless it's for internal stuff. I really hope that they're not doing internal Intel stuff. I'm hoping that they're going to put Huggers into a new role in trying to figure out how to get video out to you faster, better, and of course the processors. Now, when we were out at CES, we learned about their whole integration of the graphics processing unit into the central processing unit with the i3, the i5, and the i7. So really cool stuff there. We know in 5 years, the internet is going to be a lot video, more video than it is text. So we've got to get ready for that change. And I think that's what we're seeing right here with Eric Huggers getting into Intel. So if you want to read more about that, that's over on broadbandtvnews.com. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I know when you get a drunk driving ticket, and I have a friend that just got it a couple weeks ago, first one. I've never had it, knock on wood. When you get a drunk driving ticket, of course, your name appears in the newspaper. It's public knowledge. It's in the paper. It happens. But now there's a proposed California law, or California whatever, that they say that they want to put them up on Facebook in a shamed area. And I'm against this. You know, I understand you got to put it in the paper. Big deal. It happens. Well, I'm used to that. But Facebook? What are you gonna have them have Facebook say, you know, hey, this guy's a drunk driver? Ladies and gentlemen, 3 out of 4 people have an OWI ticket, have been charged with driving under the influence. There's only one city in the United States of America that from what I remember reading, There's only one city in the United States of America that doesn't have that statistic of 3 out of 4 people have an OWI. Manhattan is the city, ladies and gentlemen. Why? Because they don't have cars. They have public transportation up the yin-yang. They don't need a car. So therefore, they don't get drunk driving tickets. Everybody else in the United States, 3 out of 4, have a drunk driving ticket. Interesting statistic. Now, this is adults. This isn't, your children. Your children don't have drunk driving tickets, just that. But, people make mistakes. They have a couple drinks too many, and they go driving. So, putting it up on Facebook, no, I don't like that idea at all. You got to put it in the paper? Yeah, I suppose put it in the paper. It's public knowledge. Big deal. But I understand it's shameful. But I don't know. I'm not going to get into it too much. The bottom line is humiliation gets to a certain point. This goes too far. And I hope that they stop. I hope Facebook says, no, we don't want you to do that. Because that's just bad. Anyway, that's over at tmcnet.com. Check that out right there. Speaking of jumps, we have another jump right here. Check out this little mug right here. His name is Johnny Chung. And yes, he's got a Krispy Kreme hat on. And yeah, ladies and gentlemen, this is over on TechCrunch.com. He is jumping from Microsoft. He was the developer for Kinect. And he's going to jump over to Google. So we're going to see what happens. He's going to become a rapid evaluator. Whatever that means is. I don't know. Maybe he's going to make a Google Connect or something very similar to that. I'm assuming that Microsoft lawyers are all over that right now going, wait a minute, you can't do this, and you can't do this, and you can't do this. So check that out. It's over at TechCrunch.com. Because we can do that. We can do that. All right, if you want a better morning, and I saw this guy Kawasaki, saw him at CES just this last week. Guy Kawasaki posted this over on Alltop, and it's basically it's seven reasons why you should not check your email in the morning. Now, if you woke up in the morning, if you do this, I don't do this myself. Maybe I do every now and then. I'll open up the phone and I check to see what email's on there. I check this. I scan the email. I don't open up most of my email when I wake up. I just see what's in the box, and if anything directly urgent is in there, then I deal with that. But if there's anything that's not important, I don't deal with it too much. But they say if you want to have a better day, then you might want to avoid the email until a certain time. And it makes sense, a lot of this stuff. All of a sudden you're engulfed in your email rather than important tasks. You're using that as an excuse, and you don't get things done. So, interesting article. It's over on holycow.alltop.com. Of course, we got that all in the show notes there. You can check that out over at Geekazine.com in the show notes. Finally, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, check this out. This is in Spain. This is a castle in Spain. The castle in Spain is made from beer cans. What? No? Oh, not beer cans. It is built out of complete junk. It's a cathedral. And an old monk has been building this cathedral for a while now. His name is Justo Gallego. Lego my Gallego. And he was also known as Don Justo. And he's basically been collecting discarded building materials and building it. And of course, that's also things like bricks. If he finds a brick over on the curb, he picks it up and he puts it in and he makes his castle out of this. So this is apparently made out of all recycled, cut-up plastic food containers. Central Dome took over 2 decades. 2 decades to build. 2 decades to build, ladies and gentlemen. So if you're looking for somebody to build you some recycled stuff, then Don Justo would be the man to do that. So, and that does bring us to the end of part 1. I hope you liked it. If you did like it, if you didn't like it, let me know. 608-205-4378 or geekazine@gmail.com. If you like the new look, if you like the Geek Bar down here, like I said, we still have to make some adjustments, but we got some cool stuff. I don't have the video. I had a video queued up, but it wasn't working. Let's see if I can do this video. And And yeah, we're going to do this video. It's one of the videos from TPN. This is the JCB's video, and we're going to do that, and then we will be right. That's over on the video side. We will be right back. This is the Geekazine Weekly Podcast. We'll be right back.
CES coverage sponsored by GoDaddy.com, the leader in domain names, web hosting services. New customers save 25% by using promo code CES25 at GoDaddy.com.
All right, continuing coverage of the Consumer Electronics Show. Jeffrey Powers with Geekazine and the Tech Podcast Network. We are here with Jason from JCB, and they have not a phone, but a rough phone, right?
A rough and tough phone, Jeff.
Rough and tough, okay.
Let me start you off and talk you through the range of handsets that we have. Basically, JCB are the world's third largest digger manufacturer. So a bit like Caterpillar are in the US, JCB are in the UK.
No.
So we've teamed up with JCB to produce a range of phones that, reinforce the brand values of JCB, stuff that works as hard as you do and won't let you down.
Yeah.
So we've got three handsets in the range. The first one is the Tradesman. The Tradesman is unique in that it's the world's first floating phone. Feel how light that is?
Wow, that's super light. That's how many ounces is that?
No idea.
It's light. It's like a piece of paper. So, wow, that is very light. So, and it floats in water.
Yeah. The fishbowl behind you shows one floating. I'm sure you get a shot of that after.
Yeah.
But it's all well and good having a fully waterproof phone, but if you do drop it in the water and it sinks, it's no good to you.
Yeah.
So this will float. It's got Bluetooth, it's got a torch, it's got a radio, but it's effectively a budget phone. It's aimed at tradesmen and outdoor workers, but also outdoor sports people. In the UK, where we've been selling it for about a month and a half, we're finding good take-up from basically anyone who owns a boat or goes to the water.
Yeah.
You don't want to drown your iPhone at the weekend, so swap it into this. I mean, in the US, this will retail for probably a little over $100.
Okay.
So, it's a perfect second phone.
Okay. So what do you got? What do you got for the ultimate rough phone for those of you who drop? I have a friend. He drops phones all the time. Even his most rugged phone that he's ever had, he broke. So he'd be a perfect test for this.
Okay. So the roughest, toughest phone we have is the Sightmaster. So the JCB Sightmaster is officially tested to 1 ton of pressure and also a 2 meter drop test. Well, let me put that into what we did with it. So we ran over the Sightmaster with a JCB 3CX, like the one in the background. That weighs 8.5 ton. It survived.
Really? Wow.
We also dropped it from 50 feet.
Okay.
The battery came out, it spilled its guts everywhere, but when we put it back together, it still worked.
Still worked. Wow.
So if you need a rough, tough handset, this is the one. It's also water resistant and dust resistant, but,
He just threw it on the ground, and it didn't break, did it? Nope.
No.
Oh, maybe next time.
But it's a tough handset. Now, but there's also people who need a tough handset that does a little bit more as well. So for them, we've got the JCB Pro Talk.
Oh, okay.
Now, the Pro Talk, if we talk about the outside first, we've got a 2 megapixel camera. We've got a touch screen. Probably won't get that on the camera because of the light, but it's touchscreen, 2 megapixel camera. It's fully waterproof, so it's IP67 rated. It's got dual SIM cards. You can put 2 SIMs in it.
Really? Okay.
So you can have a personal SIM and a business SIM.
That's funny. That's the one thing I've always wanted in a phone, especially back when we came with, as an IT person, you had like 4 or 5 phones on your belt. That's awesome.
So, or you can have an international calling SIM in there, however you want to do it. It's also got GPS. It's not got turn-by-turn sat-nav, but it has got location services on it. And the other one it's got a built-in 2-way radio or walkie-talkie, and that's non-subscription, so it doesn't cost you a penny. So if you've got one of these, Jeff, and I've got one of these, we can wander around the show all day talking to each other.
What's the frequency on that?
Well, I don't know what the frequencies are in the US. In the UK, there's basically 8 frequencies that are available to the public.
Okay.
So the chipset in this will allow you to have whatever frequencies they have that are open frequencies in the UK, but also what you can do is if you're a company and maybe you've got a chemical plant and everyone's on walkie-talkies, but you've got your own frequency, this can be locked to that private frequency.
Oh, okay.
So the police could use this if need be, or the fire service.
Yeah, and if they drop it or if something happens, they've still got their phone working.
Yeah, and this handset, I'm guessing again because I'm trying to work from pounds to dollars and everything else. But,
Do it in pounds. How much does it cost in pounds?
In the UK, we're selling this for about £280 retail.
So about $500 to $600 in the United States when it comes.
Yeah, and
to
this one's got a 3-year warranty as well. So we back it up with, we know it's a tough phone.
Okay. Well, it's got to be tough if you have the world's fastest backhoe running over it, and it's still willing to or ready to start over again. Where do people go to find out more information?
Okay, so the first place to go is www.jcbphone.co.uk. But hopefully, following CES, it'll be coming to America shortly.
So JBC phone, JCB. I'm sorry, jcbphone.co.uk.
Yes.
For all that information.
All the information you need about the product, what it does, what it can do, videos to see it in action, and then hopefully a couple of weeks after this show, they'll be available in the States.
Can I get a ride in the backhoe?
You'll have to speak to the man from JCB. I can't drive it.
That's a good answer. Thank you very much, Jason, for your time. For the Tech Podcast Network, my name is Jeffrey Powers. All right, we are back. Welcome back to the show. Jeffrey Powers over at www.geekazine.com, 608-205-4378. And if you watch the video side, you saw I had some problems. Apparently, screen number 2 wasn't working. It wouldn't see screen number 2, but everything on screen number 1 is working. So you got to see a little bit of the behind the scenes work over at Geekazine, what I have to be looking at to produce this video like this. So anyway, you get to see the video for JCB, which is some rough phones over in the UK that are coming to the United States. And of course, the world's fastest backhoe, 60 miles per hour. It can dig 2.2 tons or something like that. It's just an amazing backhoe. And I bought it for $5. No, I didn't. I wish I did, but it maybe down the road. So, anyway, question of the week. Let's get back into the show here. Question of the week. Will Facebook share phone numbers and addresses? Is Facebook sharing your phone number and address? Do you have that set up that way? Go over to Geekazine.com and fill out the poll. Say yes, say no. Do you have that on there? And that's where we're going to start this week on part 2 here. Sharing of your phone number and your address. And right now, ladies and gentlemen, this is over on MSNBC. They're announcing that, many sites, of course, but they're announcing that Facebook had opened up information, phone numbers, and addresses to third-party companies, applications, and everybody balked at it, and you got to understand why. And so Facebook said, we'll take it down for now. We won't. We'll figure something else out. So, it just makes the most sense. Think about that. Okay, I can create an application, and I can get your phone number, and I can get your address, and I can then sell that stuff on my own, and all of a sudden people have your phone number and your address. You should do that. You should go over to Facebook, look to see what's on Facebook. I'm going to show you right now. Let me show you something. Let's go over to my Facebook. Now you're seeing my Facebook, and of course my Facebook's pretty open. I try to keep it open. And you see some names and stuff like that. Let's go over to info, and you know that I'm now a UW-Madison student. I was a student. I was at East High until class of 1990. So and all that stuff. I've got my fun stuff a little here, my computers and stuff like that, my website, who I'm interested in. Look at this. My phone number is 608-205-43708. That's the number I give out to you guys. My address is here, and everybody can see this stuff. You can see my email addresses and stuff like that, and what I use, who I see. I don't tie it down too much, because this is my gateway. This is my gateway in public land here. So if I wanted to privatize this a little bit more, I would. But ladies and gentlemen, I don't, because I understand the risks, and I take the right precautions to keep that information from coming out. And if they do contact me, they contact me via 608-205-4378. And now that I'm thinking about it, I have had a few people calling me on that number, even though that number is also part of the do not call list. I've had third-party companies call me and give me the recorded spiel, which apparently is supposed to be illegal. If you get a phone call and it's a recorded thing, advertisement saying call this number, find out more, that's not supposed to be legal in the United States. At least that's what I understand. I might be wrong, but I don't know. I'm all for the fact that Facebook shouldn't be giving out all that information to third parties. But go over to your Facebook right now, check on your info, make sure your home phone number or your mobile number is not in there. Because the next thing you know, you might be getting phone calls from these people if you don't want them. So anyway, that's over on msnbc.com. Check that all out for more information. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's take a look at this. See if I can pull this up really quick. Hold on. It's HTML5. It's their new logo. It's the shield of HTML5. Anyway, HTML5 has an official logo. It was decided on at the World Wide Web Consortium, or the W3C. It was designed by the firm Occupop, or something like that. What do you think? Go over to readwriteweb.com and say, hey, I like it, I don't like it. I think it's crap. I don't know. Personally, I think it's not too bad. It's not very inventive, but it's not too bad. They need to do something a little bit on that 5. It looks like the shield's supposed to go like this, but then that 5 looks like flat. So it doesn't make any sense on there. Maybe the Cape, the NBC show, can have a shield now that says HTML5, because I actually watched that show last night, and I wasn't all too impressed. Not at all. I think that show's going to be gone in 6 weeks, personally. Sorry, I mean, NBC is not doing too well on these superhero shows, so I don't think the Cape's going to stick around. I didn't like it. I didn't care too much. I thought it was boring. So, anyway, let's move on here. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. This has been another thing while we were away for CES. Google had announced, hey, we're dropping H.264 support in Chrome. And a lot of people have been on that bandwagon, yes or no. Of course, Phil Hippensteel from Information Week, of course, is not. I don't think he's on the bandwagon. Here's my take on the whole H.264 thing. You can read his stuff over on Information Week, of course. But my take is this. H.264 is not an open source codec, which Google wants to stay open source, and I totally understand that. I think Google is trying to pressure the JC, I think it's what the JCB group, I think is what it's called. They force them into turning H.264 into an open source codec. However, I think they also deal with the things like Paramount and stuff like that, the movie industry. So the chances of H.264 becoming open source, I don't know, probably won't happen. And Google probably saw that and they said, well, then we need to go off and create our own standard that's open source. Now, I would be surprised that Google would just go off and do that without having something in their back pocket. Something that in a couple months they'll come out with and say, hey, here's a codec that's absolutely open source, and it works just like the H.264. And it might work with HTML5. You never know. So, and a lot of people are saying, well, it's the whole Microsoft and HTML5. It's the whole, some of these browsers are adopting HTML5. They are not. Google Chrome wants to go their own way. Blah, 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 blah. No, I think it's because of open source. And I seriously think that Google is either scaring them to open sourcing 264, or they've got something that they're ready to debut that's going to be similar to H.264. Because you got to remember, everybody's converting to H.264, and that's something that you just don't normally do, because it takes a lot of money to do that. So for Google Chrome to say we're not going to put support in for Chrome, they have to have something in their up their sleeves, something in their back pocket that's either going to be better than H.264 or the same, and will work with HTML5. So that's the way I see it, and I think that's what's going to happen. We'll see what happens with Chrome. They just don't do things willy-nilly. Oh no, we're not going to do 264 because we don't want to. Yeah. We're not going to do Flash because we don't want to. Yeah. No, it doesn't work that way. Chrome has a reason. Google has a reason. And we haven't been privy to that reason just yet. We'll see what happens. All right, ladies and gentlemen, last part of part 2 will get you on your merry way here. And it's all about the piano. This is over on device.com. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. It's basically a piano where you can put your iPod on top of it. Now, you're saying, well, I can put my iPad on top of any piano. But apparently this one hooks right into the piano. And I don't know if it's going to be doing things like changing it into a Moog keyboard or something like that. But you'll be able to power it up, use the iPad for sheet music, and then come with the piano. It's got a dock in it, so you can easily read the sheet music on the iPad. You can do other things like surf the web, check email, play Angry Birds. So you could actually be playing Angry Birds, and you could be writing the score for Angry Birds. You know, playing on one hand, all on playing the keyboard like that. Think about that. And people do that. They'll sit there, they'll be playing Angry Birds with one hand, and they'll be playing on the piano. Anyway, if you want to get me this iPad piano, feel free. I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be a good price. I don't think they have the price on this just yet. Yeah, I didn't see it on here, but you can go over to device.com. The link is from Ion Audio via Born Rich. So let's go over to Ion. Let's see if there's a price on here. Coming soon. And I bet you there's also going to be an option where it can actually use the sheet music and turn it around if it's in the right type of format to actually play the sheet music. So you can do a lot of learning and stuff like that. And that would be really cool. But that's what I would love to have. If you want to get me that piano, you're going to have to get me an iPad first. But I will take the piano, I will take the iPad, and I'll make you some cool music. And play Angry Birds at the same time, because that's what I do. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, that is the end of the show. What'd you think? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Did you like the land of confusion that I was in? This is the land of confusion. Anyway, my name is Jeffrey Powers. If you have any questions, give me a call, 608-205-4378 or geekazine@gmail.com. I hope you had fun. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Geekazine Weekly Podcast. We're going to make some more changes as we go. I'm going to have to find myself a wireless keyboard and figure out how to do this monitor situation just a little bit better. And, of course, Ustream was very painful today because apparently when I went to start Ustream, I'm on Ustream right now, but I can't record because their application was down for maintenance. It's like, what the heck? During the day? That doesn't make sense. Anyway, that's it for the Geekazine Weekly Podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. My name is Jeffrey Powers. We will be back next week with episode number 173. So feel free to call me and email me and let me know what you think. Let's talk to you then. So take care.